OBJ is on the trading block this offseason. Odell on track in his recovery from an ACL tear. So, Greg, should other teams still consider OBJ a franchise-altering weapon when targeting him in a trade?
Chris, I'm going to say no, but that does not mean he's not a good acquisition for a number of teams. When I think of a franchise-altering player, that means he's going to be the feature. He's going to be pretty much the face, altering everything that they do offensively in this position because of his skills on that side of the ball. But when I look at Odell Beckham, there's a lot of things in this league that happens when guys start to get up there in age and then they start to show injury. In 2017, it started with the ankle injury. He needed surgery to fix that. 2018, he missed the last 4 games of the season. Then 19, he had the core muscle injury, the sports hernia, and then last year the ACL. And so when you're 28 years old and he still has time, he still has youth on his side. But the question is he going to still be the productive Odell Beckham that we were able to see and that we came and we all were introduced to when he was with the Giants as a rookie in his first 3 years? Can he provide that? I don't know if he really can, but can he be a second piece for a team that is a contender that can get him the ball in space and let him do what he does so very well, which is get down the field, be a game breaker and a game wrecker? Yes, I do believe he still can add value to a lot of offenses in this National Football League. But will he be a feature guy? I just don't think that that is the Odell Beckham that we will see because of the injuries. And with that, he just hasn't been on the field enough to show that he can sustain his health right now in his career. But I think he would be a great acquisition for a number of teams across the league.
You know, Greg, I certainly understand the injury side of things, and I think that's important. We have to bring up the injury because we all know throughout your career, the injury is going to play a part in how effective you can be to any organization. But I think he can be a game changer and a franchise-altering player. And here's the reason why. And first of all, he has to go to the absolute correct situation. He has to go to a situation that's already pretty much ready-made. They just need the right receiver. But I compare it to what Stephon Diggs was able to do this year in Buffalo. Was Stephon Diggs a altering guy in Minnesota? He was a good player, really good player, but I didn't view him as a franchise-altering guy. He goes to Buffalo, a great situation, great culture presented by Sean McDermott, a great character in that locker room. Leslie Frazier in that defense, Tre'Davious White, that defense was really, really good. Offensively, they needed a guy that can be that game breaker, a guy that can open things up similar to Odell Beckham Jr., and they got Stephon Diggs. They needed a guy they can throw the ball to consistently. 166 targets he got this year. And he took Josh Allen, a quarterback that was developing, from 3,000 yards in 2019 and 20 touchdowns to this year of just about 4,500 yards and 37 touchdowns. He was able to open that field up, be a receiver that the quarterback can depend on week in and week out, every single route, throwing the ball up to him, throwing deep, throwing intermediate routes as well. I think Odell Beckham Jr. can bring that to a football team, provided, again, that it's the right situation, not a situation where you're rebuilding, but put them in a situation where your team already has the right character, already has the right culture. They just need a guy that can go out there and make plays. And I think in that situation, Odell Beckham Jr. has the ability to excel.
Yeah, I'm going to give you guys a few teams where I think he could alter their destiny. One, how about Baltimore? You know, Lamar Jackson needs a big play receiver. And OBJ, you know, can make up for some bad throws by the quarterback because we know he can go get the ball. And he also can turn a short route into a game-breaking play. So I would love to see OBJ. It's time for them to get Lamar the weapons. We always talk about, you know, is he a great passer? Can he throw outside the numbers? But as you mentioned, Brian, you saw what a great receiver Stephon Diggs can do for a young quarterback. We saw it in Arizona with DeAndre Hopkins and what he did for Kyler Murray. I'd like to see Lamar get a receiver like that before I say, oh, you know what, he can only hit the tight end. He can only throw it in the middle of the field. So I think that would be a good one. I think San Francisco, if they go ahead and get Deshaun Watson. I don't like OBJ there with Jimmy Garoppolo. I wonder if his personality would be too strong and Garoppolo would feel like forced to get it to OBJ. Kind of like I thought Baker was, before OBJ went down. And you're not making the right play. You're just looking for your star receiver. But if they get Deshaun Watson, who I think is a strong enough personality, I think OBJ would be the guy I'd go after to try to team him up with Watson in San Francisco. And then Green Bay, obviously you got Devontae Adams. I think OBJ, if he went there, he would respect Aaron Rodgers enough where he'd settle in to be, okay, I'm the second guy. I don't think he'd have any problems, raise any trouble there. And I think he'd be a great compliment to Devontae Adams, Greg.
I like all those teams. I like the San Francisco 49ers with or without Jimmy Garoppolo. And that is because of Kyle Shanahan and his ability to schematically scheme guys open individually within their scheme. So not going outside of what they do, but taking a player, an individual, and seeing what he does best and putting him in position to win. Odell Beckham, I believe, would thrive in that situation. And then you mentioned the Green Bay Packers. In my opinion, that's one of the front runners for me because of his Aaron Rodgers' ability to just get the ball to his playmakers and extend the play and be off script. Kind of the way Odell Beckham likes to play. He's not a real rhythm receiver where he's going to run every route on the route tree and just be in the pocket and you're 3-step drop, 5-step drop, and it's like hit him, hit him, hit him. When things break down, you get the ball to Odell Beckham and he makes special things happen. You talked about the Baltimore Ravens. I would push back on that only because the frustration I think Odell would experience with some of the inconsistency that would come with getting the ball from Lamar Jackson. And I get it. Lamar Jackson has improved as a passer, but he hasn't proven. And your point, you want him to get that receiver to show, can he prove to be a pass-throwing quarterback in this league as well as a running quarterback. But another place that I think that he would fit in well would be the Washington football team. Alongside Terry McLaurin, I think they have some nice pieces defensively. They are great. They will get the ball back to that offense. Quarterback position, I think Taylor Heineke could be their guy. And he has a lot of confidence after what he was able to do in that postseason game and that showing. But McLaurin getting another sidekick, a consistent, valuable guy that he can learn from, and that can still even the playing field for him, that would be something to watch, Westbrook.
Yeah, I'm not in favor of the Washington football team only because they don't have an established quarterback. Taylor Heineke played well in that one playoff appearance. But Odell Beckham Jr. needs to go to a place where they have an established quarterback that's going to say, hey, you run this route at 12 yards, you do your thing, and I'll find a way to get you the football. That's why I like Green Bay a bunch. You mentioned the Ravens, and this is what I think he can help. Odell Beckham Jr. can help the Ravens. He's going to do a couple things. He's going to give Lamar Jackson that established receiver that defenses have to respect. So now they have to respect the pass game a little bit, and Lamar Jackson's going to have to be better at the quarterback position. But it's also going to force Greg Roman to be more versatile with that offense. It's going to force him to open things up. Or now you're going to have John Harbaugh wondering, why aren't you throwing the ball? Why aren't you getting the ball to one of our most explosive players on offense? And so I think it will open things up for the Ravens in the way that they certainly need to. And for Lamar Jackson, also give him a receiver that he can count on game in and game out, that he can throw the ball to consistently. And I think Odell Beckham Jr. can fall into that role very seamlessly. Here's a good thing about those two other teams. You talk about Green Bay and San Fran. He doesn't have to be the guy there right away. You go to Green Bay, Devontae Adams is a guy. Aaron Rodgers will find a way to get him the football as long as he's open. And then when you look at San Fran, Greg, you laid it out perfectly. That offense is about getting the ball to the open receiver, finding a way to stretch the field, run the football, and then some play action pass there. Odell Beckham Jr. helps all of that. He stretches the football field, opens up the running game a little bit more. You get him the ball in space, and he's one of the most dynamic guys with the ball in his hands in the NFL. And I just think as long as he comes back healthy, he'll be a help to any football team that he joins.
I'll tell you guys one thing I don't really want to see from OBJ are tweets or Instagram posts about, watch out, I'm coming back. Everybody's sleeping on me. I'll be back next year. They done forgot. I mean, that rarely works out.
That's the only way that we know he's
Cam
working out, though.
Exactly.
He can work out, but I just don't want to hear, you can post the workouts, but remember Cam, all that talk about what the Lions about to roar or something like that, and it just didn't happen. And OBJ was talking before last season too. I get that that's his personality. I don't mind guys being braggadocious like that, but I just think at this point, with all the injuries he's had, I just don't want to hear, just go out and prove it to me on the field. That's really all I want to see from OBJ. But, Greg, why do you think we talked about Stephon Diggs helping out Josh Allen, DeAndre Hopkins helping out Kyler Murray? Why do you think it didn't really work out that way in Cleveland with OBJ